Hello! It is post New Year and I have a video that I wanted to do. So I was working on something else, okay? And I did kind of a haul, and in that haul it includes the fabric I'm going to be working with. So y'all will see that tomorrow, next week. I started working on that video and I didn't have the equipment that I needed. I was like missing a zipper and then I was missing like other fabrics, so ugh. Oh, also I did order a pattern for that. I talk more about it in the video that's going to come out next week. But because I don't have all the stuff that I need, I decided to just call that video quits and start working on this video. We are going to work on our first Love Core project of the year. I have this fabric, which is tablecloth, freshly cleaned. I washed it last night, and it's going to be using a couple fabrics or a couple patterns I have in my pattern stash. I'm sorry y'all are crooked. I'm still like getting used to this phone, which I do have a new phone. I also have bangs. I didn't feel like having my bangs down today because like that's a lot of maintenance and I just don't want to do it. The plan is for this fabric, because it's a tablecloth that I got from Home Goods and it's a very cute one. I'll talk a little bit more about it again since like y'all aren't going to see that video until next week. There's little cupids on there. I'm not the biggest fan of the butterflies, to be honest, but like, who cares? It's barely noticeable. The hearts, it's very vintage-ish, and I want to make like a pinafore. So what I have here is this pattern. I think one of my first videos on here was a video post making this, and I don't know if I actually like recorded any of myself like making the outfit, but the skirt part like really frustrated me, not gonna lie. It's a really hard pattern for me. I think I'm just like dumb and I just didn't understand the pattern. I might remake it again in the future, but the future is not now. But I'm gonna take the top part of it and like use the straps, use the top bodice part, and then mix it with this skirt. This skirt is a skirt that I use all the time. It's one of the first patterns I've ever used. Honestly, I think it is the first pattern I ever used. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to attach it to the bodice using this fabric. And then it's going to be a cute little pinafore. I don't know if I have a dress to put on underneath. I'm hoping I do. If not, oh well, I'll figure something out. I'll probably put on like a bolero or something. I'm very, very excited for this project. I think it will be super easy. It'll be a nice little like break between my Megacon project and all that jazz. Breaking away from like learning new techniques. It's not that I'm tired of learning new techniques. It's just that my brain can only hold so much information, and if I put too much new techniques in my brain, it's not going to absorb any of it. So I need to take a break from that and start working on this. So let's get started. One of my favorite things ever to make out of tablecloth are skirts, just because like it's super easy. There's almost always enough space, especially if you're just doing like an A-line skirt. Even circle skirts are fine. But if you're doing like a huge pleated skirt, box pleated skirt, that's probably not going to be your best bet. Because this is a printed pattern and it's been a while since I've worked with a printed pattern and it's tablecloth, it's not the exact size I need. So what I'm doing right now, let me show you. I have one panel pinned down, and what I'm going to do after I have this panel pinned down or I've cut out, I'm going to flip it on the other side. I have it pinned to the seams over on this side so I don't have to like make seams for the zipper, because I think I'm going to put the zipper on. Maybe not. I might put a zipper. We'll see. I'll have to flip this over up to this side where this will be on this seam. You can't see because my light is in the way, and I should have just enough space to have for this, because all the cupids are facing like this way. If you see it right here, they're facing this way, so they're head up, and I want to make sure that this stays consistent. So that's what I'm going to do next after I cut out this panel. Great news! I kind of overestimated and I don't need to flip over the fabric. So let me show you again. This is going to be the other side. So the cupids are facing up again. Hello! And I will be able to put the seam on this side. So this side will attach to that side of the previous one. And then I still want to put a zipper. I have a really long zipper sitting over there. And I think I want to make the zipper go all the way from the skirt all the way up to the pinafore. I should have enough fabric down here to be able to keep on making the pinafore, because that's one of the reasons why I decided on making the like little strapped pinafore, was because it's not that much fabric. I do remember talking about it in my other vlog that's coming out next week, how I feel like I kind of ripped myself off by choosing to do like tablecloth as my fabric choice, because I'm like, it's $14.99, and it did used to be cheaper. It used to just be $9.99 to buy all these fabric tablecloths from Home Goods. So it has gone up in price. I know Rachel Zoe is like one of those sought after brands in the Home Goods store. Also, at the end of the day, I can still make a whole pinafore dress. Like, you don't have to wear the pinafore with something underneath. So like, it could be a whole outfit for 15 bucks. So at the end of the day, I'm not too mad about it. All right, so now I have both of the skirt panels cut out. First off, I want to kind of apologize if I seem pretty short and like just explaining what I'm doing today. One, I don't really have anything to talk about. And two, I'm just realizing that I'm like 2 weeks ahead in my recording schedule in a way, because I decided to do a everything I made in 2024 long form video, and I'm realizing I have the time to edit it today because I just finished editing my back cape one, and I am working on this to come out next week. So like, I want to get that done before like February. But yeah, so the skirt's all done. I'm gonna like pin the skirt together, and then I'm going to start working on the bodice part of the pinafore, pin the pinafore, and then I'll get back to, well, kind of. I'll at least work on the skirt first. Ooh, also, I forgot to mention, so with this last panel of the skirt, it somehow lined up to where I could have both sides with the seam done, but I only wanted one side of the seam done because I kind of like having like my little signature thing of when I do the seams, I fold both sides over and then I do like a little like sewing down the seams. So I left this side, and it kind of looks like bias tape in a way. So I think I'm going to use it as decorative whatever. I might make a bolero. I don't have enough of this fabric. It'd be so cute if I could make a bolero out of this fabric, but I definitely do not have enough. I could make a bolero out of different tulle, different fabric. That's what it's called. I literally just said it. And then use this as like decorative. And then like whatever I have left over, I can make like little pockets, because I think that would be so sweet. Or even make like an apron. But I think a pinafore looks too close to an apron. So I think I want to find like a plain fabric that I have. I have a lot of black. I have one like burgundy laying around. I have a little bit of pink, but it's bedsheet material, and I'm not sure how I'm feeling about bedsheet material right now. If I do have time, I might get around to that today. Somebody's burning a fire outside, and it smells so good. I miss that so much about living in Arkansas. So like, Arkansas was kind of depressive for me, not gonna lie. I hated almost every single second of it. The summer was kind of okay. The fall was okay, but it got really cold, and I have a cold aversion. Like right now, my toes are so cold. I've been sitting on them all day, and like normally I have a space heater on my feet, but I can't do a space heater in this room. There's just too much stuff. One of the things about Arkansas was that there's always like forests. Like, it's a very woodsy state, and so a lot of people would have like sticks from their backyard because there was a forest right behind their yard, and they would just like do burn barrels or burn piles. And we used to do that as a kid, but I remember distinctly having one of the neighbors call on the cops on us because it was definitely a drought season. It's such like a soothing smell. And one of my favorite things to burn is pine trees post Christmas. And I know that you can like keep pine trees around for a little while longer, but the smell of burning pine is just such a phenomenal smell. It's just so nice to have and smell the scent of burn piles and like roasted marshmallows. And like, we don't get cold very often in Florida, but when we do, it's really nice to get that little smoky smell. So anyway, sorry to be a little bit sappy. I feel like I'm sappy in every single one of my vlogs, not gonna lie. We're working on the bodice right now. I'm cutting it out. I have just enough like fold to cut both bodice pieces out. So it looks like my zipper is going to be on the side because that's what the way it was when I made the other dress. It was supposed to be a swimsuit, but I wear it as a dress because we don't have rules here. I don't know if I have enough for the belt piece. So what I might do is that will be where I will take a different fabric and then use that as like the liner or whatever. I don't remember if the original piece has like a little belt line. Honestly, I might not even add the belt line because if I don't have enough fabric, I'm not going to want to do it. I do still need to keep enough fabric for the straps. It's a really simple project, so I kind of feel bad that I'm rushing through this and like I don't really have much to show, but pinafores are super easy. I just never had a good pattern for it. So now I'm Frankensteining patterns together to make a costume, or it's not costume because I'm going to wear it out, to make a pinafore that I've always wanted. So remember when I said I wanted to keep this for like a cute little trim on like a bolero or something? I definitely have enough that I could use this as belt loops because I think I'm not going to like the way that it looks without the belt loops, because the way that it looks, I mean, well, maybe I will, because the way that the dress will fall is that the seams are going to be down this way, so it will look like it's like one solid. No, it's not going to look like a solid piece because it's not a solid piece. Because like you're going to see the seam right here, and I don't really think I like the look of that. Because I don't have enough fabric to do the belt line, I'm going to use this fabric as belt loops. That way I don't actually have to like do any sewing. Well, I mean, I'm sewing. Of course I'm going to do sewing, but I don't have to do any extra sewing. And that way also I can just like make a belt, crochet a belt, find a belt in my wardrobe somewhere because I'm pretty sure I have something somewhere, and then make like a decorative thing and like make it more accessorizable. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then whatever I have left is whatever I have left. Still have a little tiny bit left of the fabric post cutting out the straps, which is fine. Like I like having a little bit left just in case for like, I don't know, lining or something. Maybe I'll make another phone case. Doubt it, but this fabric is so stinking cute. I'm so obsessed with it. Kind of want to make a blouse to go underneath it, but I definitely don't have the time for that today. One day I would like to make a new blouse, which I was planning on working on for last or next week's video. I was working on it last night, and then I started getting frustrated because everything I wanted to work on was just not working out. I do have a pattern on its way, which is a pattern I've had for years. I've had to rebuy that pattern 2 or 3 times because every single time I leave it out, I think my dog just hates it. I think I mentioned this in the video that's coming out next week, but I'm gonna have to keep my sewing room door shut because one of my dogs, Tika, likes to get sick. She doesn't like to get sick. She gets sick quite often, and she has her little accidents near this room, and sometimes it spreads to my sewing room. I don't know what it is. She just loves letting it all out on my fabric and my sewing patterns. So that being said, that pattern is on its way. I will be making a blouse soon, but not for this yet. I should have. I want to make it. I want to make it so bad. I'm finding bits of doggy puke in my house, in my room. So after I'm done with the sewing project, I am absolutely tearing everything off the floor and mopping it because that's friggin' gross. Ew. I just did my bobbin for this. I had to put a new bobbin in. I didn't have this color, but I did have the thread. And I have the skirt all pinned up. We're all pinned up on one side. I haven't pinned the other side because that's the side I plan on putting the zipper in on. And I kind of want to wait until after I do the bodice part to sew that up, because the zipper itself is a pretty long zipper. It's an invisible zipper, so that's going to feel a little bit more comfortable on my side down here. I just want to work on that after I sew the bodice together. I'm going to work on one side of the bodice too, but that's the next thing that I'm working on. So first, let's get this skirt all seamed up. Okay, so we got the skirt panels sewn together. Let me put it like around myself real quick. Okay, so here it is so far. I have the 2 panels sewn together. We still have this part taken, like not sewn together yet, but the Cupid heads are all kind of like going towards the seam on this side. Honestly, that's okay though. I like how it's looking so far. I love the fabric. Like, I know it's like a cotton, but it almost feels like linen. It's very thin. And for them to charge $14.99 for this is a little bit crazy, because I remember buying a Joanna Parker one back in like 2021, and it was $11.99, and it was a much thicker fabric. But that's besides the case. This is just going to be a pinafore. It's going to be a layering piece, and I want to be able to wear it in the summer as well. I don't think this will be sweat proof. So I will definitely have to wear something underneath. It's going to be a shock to most people because like most times I sew with black fabric, and I am a girly that loves love core. I love love. I didn't have enough of it when I was a kid. So now that I'm an adult, I like kind of make up for it by exuding love, I guess. I don't know. This is all done. And now it's on to the bodice piece. But before I move on to that, I'm watching a bunch of other people's 2024 in review, and it's given me so much inspiration. And I kind of feel bad for the way that I recorded my 2024 in review because I did a really terrible job at explaining everything. I'm going to keep most of what they've said in mind because I think this is like the first year I've really digested other people's 2024 in review videos. And because of that, I'm learning a lot. Also, I am watching Yemi, I think that's how she said her name. I'm watching Yemi's video on how like tips to like keep your fashion sustainable. I agree with most of what she's saying. And I also want to put in the fact that if you can DIY something, do it. Find capsule wardrobe pieces. Find pieces that can go with anything. You can probably find a black pair of shorts out there or a black skirt. Black is like a really good base color. White is a really good base color. Pink is a good base color. Find like a silhouette that you like. I love the 1940s silhouette, so I almost always fall to the 1940s when it comes to fashion styling, and I always just build upon that, and then it always ends up not looking quite 1940s. Not only is it sustainable, but it's also your own style. So find like a base silhouette and find a base color and then work from there. Tico is just in here, and you can tell because there's a little bit of drool on this little pattern. So let me backtrack a little bit while I'm like pinning my pieces together. When people are talking about capsule wardrobes or in general, like it doesn't have to be like just a solid color thing. I was talking about a little bit earlier that it could be a certain silhouette that you can follow. That ties in heavily with J fashion, specifically Lolita fashion, and maybe even OG fashion. In Lolita fashion, it's a very cupcake shape, and there is like a subsection of Lolita fashion that is specifically like cupcake shape. They'll have their little, I can't remember what it's called because I don't dress in Lolita. I'm just a really big fan of it. They have the tulle dress on the bottom that poofs out their skirt, and then they have the overlayer, which is like the body of the dress, and then they have like an apron on top a lot of times, which isn't always an apron, but a lot of times the pinafore. The capsule wardrobe itself is that one dress that's underneath the apron slash pinafore, and then the poofiness, like you don't need the poofiness to have that dress. Like it's preferred in Lolita fashion. Like there's actually rules to there's actually rules to Lolita fashion. However, if you're going for your own style, you can take a lot of inspiration from J fashion. I am only just learning about OG fashion, and one of the things about OG fashion is like having the shorts and then having the waistcoat. That's the base of the outfit, but having the frills and having the like decorations on top of that is part of the accessorizing of it. Accessories are a very important part of J fashion and just in fashion in general when you're trying to like widen your culture, I guess. The goal isn't always just to like look as unique as possible, but it's like to build upon what you already have. And I think that's why I admire J fashion so much and 1940s fashion in general. You used to not be able to buy all these clothes in such rapid paces, and so you had to learn how to accessorize or like do aprons over it, especially in the 1940s when they had to do a whole bunch of ration clothing. Aprons were their accessories, much like in Lolita fashion. So I think that's a really important thing to put into your wardrobe if you're trying to like learn more about fashion and like accessorizing yourself and like becoming more unique, is like you find the one core silhouette you want, maybe the one core color that you want, and then build upon that. I've hit this nail quite a few times, but I think it's like really important to like keep on nailing that down and being like, you can be fashionable. My mic battery died towards the end of that ramble. Just going back to like J fashion and 1940s fashion in general, the reason why they're called cords is because it's coordination. It's more than just a shirt. It's more than just a dress. It's more than just a pinafore. It's something that you coordinate to make into an outfit. And I think that's a good way to like look at outfits instead of just thinking, oh, it's a shirt, pants, and a necklace. It's a whole entire like ensemble. Like if you were in band, I guess, or orchestra. It's adding all the brass and the woodwinds and the percussion together. It's not just a shirt, pants, and necklace. It's all of that together to make one cohesive thing. And I know that there are fashionable people out there whose fashion is a little bit less cohesive and more of a, here's everything I own, here's my favorite pieces, let me show the world. I, as somebody that likes to match my outfits a little bit more, color coordinate a little bit more, I really appreciate thinking of it as a whole entire ensemble rather than just shirt, pants, dress, whatever. So anyways, I forgot that I had to do darts in this, so I'm going to do the darts first, and then I'll come back to pinning these together, and then I will get back on track. Yeah. I just finished watching the Focus Features video on the 1830s Gothic fashion of Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. The costume designer, Linda something, I don't remember her last name. What a phenomenal job. I was obsessed with the costuming as soon as I saw the first scene. I love that she really incorporated true antique vintage style into it. I loved when we got to the scene where it wasn't in like Europe anymore. Well, it was in Europe, but it was more Eastern Europe, and the costume like really started like changing. They used more than just one style, and I absolutely loved how beautiful that was. My best friend and I have not really joked, but like kind of serious about it. We both would love to be costume designers, and I have always wanted to work on a movie set in some form of fashion. Like I used to want to do professional French horn playing on like a movie set, but I am no longer in that kind of attitude. I don't like performing anymore. I don't like practicing. That was like the biggest part. So that's not in my future anymore. And like the more I think about it, I don't think I'd want to be constrained to it, but it'd be so cool to have something that I've made featured in a film or even a music video. Like that would be super neat. I've always wanted to do something with music videos. I've always been into music videos in general because of like K-pop. That was what I grew up on. And K-pop music videos were a lot different from American music videos. There was a lot more costume. They actually have costume designers for their music bank sets. What are they called? Stage shows, I believe that's what they're called. I was just watching maybe it was Eyes One. I watched like a compilation of all the costumes that they wore on set for one of their last singles. It's just one of those, like, I absolutely love to work with fashion that way, but I don't think I have the chops to do it. My best friend, though, loves to cut out patterns, loves how like meticulous it is. I don't know if you watched the video of me cutting out my bat cape. Hate cutting patterns. This was tough, not gonna lie, but the only reason why I was more meticulous with it was because I have such limited fabric. I just don't think I could replicate a lot of costumes, but it would be so cool if a goth band or like a post-punk, anybody in the alternative music scene wants to reach out to me and commission me to make a costume for one of your characters in your music video, please. That would be a dream come true. Okay, so now we're at the part where I have the bodice all done for the most part. I haven't attached the straps. That always confuses me, to be honest. I've been trying to put this on weird. Okay, so this is the front, and this side is going to be where the zipper is. Straps are going to go right here. I'm always really bad at doing the straps. They're never the right length, and I don't ever like to take it apart and put it back together. For the actual like pattern, it calls for putting buttons right here. I'm not going to put buttons. Maybe I will. I'll think about it, but I doubt that I'm going to want to do buttons. Now we're at the part that we want to put the skirt on. Here's the front, back, somewhere like that. Skirt's going to go on the bottom part. Honestly, this could be cute, like as a tube top, but this worked up really quickly and I'm pretty proud of it. So I'm going to take a break real quick because I haven't eaten since yesterday, maybe this morning at like 3 in the morning, but it's now like 7 or 8 p.m. and all I've had was my energy drink and my gum that I'm still chewing on since like noon. I need to eat a little bit. I don't know if I'll get back to it tonight, but I'll at least get some of it pinned, maybe. I will work on it, not tomorrow night because I have a 5 a.m. the day after that. Probably on Sunday I will finish this up, and then maybe Monday I'll do my try on. I want to set my hair for this outfit because I think it's going to be super cute if I'm up to it and if the pattern gets here, because the pattern's supposed to get here January 4th through 8th. It should be here soon. And if it's here in time before I finish this off, then I will make a blouse to go under this, but don't count on it because I don't think that it will come in time. I kind of lied. I'm back already. I didn't feel like going to bed yet, even though I have a 9 a.m. tomorrow and I should probably go to bed, but I just want to stay up until my husband gets off of work. So instead, I did start some pinning here, and what I've noticed, so the top is a little bit bigger than the skirt. One side has the skirt bigger than the other side, and then this side has the bodice bigger than the other side. The issue with this is that I want to keep the middle part lined up, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of scrunching. I don't remember what the proper term is because it's been so long since I've been sewing, and all the content I've consumed recently was either Infinity Nikki or crochet content, so I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. It's gonna look a little bit silly, not gonna lie. Both sides are a little bit uneven, even though this side, I think this one's pretty even. It's this side that's really bad. Maybe it's because I have it pinned right now, but either way, it's not perfectly even. That was bound to happen because I'm using 2 different patterns. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. I'll figure it out. That's what I'm going to do real quick while I am warming up because it's so freaking cold in this house and the state right now. Ugh. Another reason why I wanted to get back into sewing today was because I was playing Infinity Nikki for a little bit, and every time I play Infinity Nikki, I am so inspired to sew again because, like, I don't know, those outfits are just so beautiful. The developers did such a great job, and I know what they did was, like, they actually hired designers to create outfits for her, and I'm just so in awe. It's just so inspiring to see other people also inspired by the outfits. I don't remember where I saw this. It was probably on TikTok. Somebody predicted that fashion will trend more towards digital fashion as opposed to like IRL fashion. With the recession, I would have to agree. Infinity Nikki is a free-to-play game, and because it's free to play, you can use all your free time that you're not using for your leisure or tourism because we're all penny pinching nowadays. You can already see it in the games. Like Roblox, I think it had Dress to Impress. I never got into Dress to Impress because I don't have a system that plays it. I was always interested in it. I know that for a lot of people, what gets them into fashion is digital fashion. Like what got me into fashion was watching people get into fashion online. Also like magazines way back in the day. However, there was another game that was really popular when I was a kid called Gaia Online, and you could just customize your avatars, and that's something like I've always aspired to be able to do, was customizing my avatar, which Infinity Nikki does give me that opportunity. But now I have the skills and talent to make whatever I want. Okay, so maybe not whatever I want, but a lot of what I want. And because I do have the skill set to eventually learn, it's just such a cool like little tool, like a beginner's tool, because like essentially Infinity Nikki is Barbie but mobile. Yeah, it's digital Barbie. It's a really good way of exploring fashion without actually having to purchase your own fashion. Like, yeah, there are things that you can purchase on there, but you don't have to. It's free to play. So I'm going on a tangent, but mostly because I want to distract myself from doing this. It's just such a fun little way to get into fashion. And I love the way that fashion is like being explored nowadays, less so in the purchasing aspect, because even though there's a lot of us going through a financial, I wouldn't say crisis, some of us are, but a lot of us aren't financially as healthy as we want to be, we can still explore it freely by doing stuff like that. So now we're at the side where we have to sew that down with the zipper. It might be a little bit too small, but I can like pack it in, right? I have a little bit of a gap down here, so I'm a little bit worried about that as well. Oh, now that I'm thinking about it, now that it's supposed to go over something, I'm not sure if it, well, I am wearing this over something right now, so it should be fine. I'm really liking the shape of it. I'm really liking the feel of it. It's not super wrinkly either, and that's also a huge plus. I see some puckering down here, and that's because I had to do like that little stitch. I can't remember what it's called. And then like on top of that, it almost looks like a baby doll dress. Not really, but like in a way, because like the waist is a little bit higher than I normally would have it. I'm gonna put the zipper in right now. All right, so now we have the zipper in. It's a little bit loose up here, and I should have known because it's been loose before, but I could probably just tuck this in a little bit up here. Ew, I don't like that. We're gonna wear a belt. Down here, I don't know if I can show you properly. So down here, I didn't sew that together. And like, I almost want to keep it that way because like, I kind of like the slit. And I also don't like the way it looks when I do sew it together. But like also, it's not that big of a deal if it goes in a little bit. I'm so bad at sewing in zippers. I hate zippers so much. And I've learned how to do it before and it just doesn't stick to my brain. I've done good zippers before. This is not a good example. I wish I was better at it, but here we are. I might keep this here, or if I don't do that, I have some handy dandy bias tape and I'll just bias tape it down and give it a little bit more color. Because I'm planning on using this bias tape for like up here and probably for the bottom seam as well. I like flashes of color. That's kind of my thing. So far though, big fan. Woo! I just finished editing and posting and writing out the pattern for my crochet wristlet, which I kind of talked about in everything I made in 2024 video. And I don't know if I have the chops to be a crochet pattern maker for a living. I know people like kind of spread theirs out, but I always wait till last minute to write the pattern because I'm like, I don't feel like writing the pattern right now and then all that jazz. We're going to go back to the sewing room, but right now I'm working on a little pixie hood because I saw these two colors in my local Michael's and I decided to treat myself because I've been having a couple 5 a.m. shifts and I do not like waking up at 5 a.m., but that's just what I've been given lately. Yeah, I don't think I'll be talking about this much on here. It doesn't match the current outfit I'm making. I do want to wear it soon, so maybe I'll wear it between the time the sewing video is done, because like I want to also add a top to the sewing project. All I have left is the bias tape that I need to do because I really want like that pop of red on the collar area and then on the bottom, and I just don't think that's enough for a video because I've been trying to make longer form videos because I know there's a lot of people that like to, like me included, like to watch videos on the background and don't want to decide what they want to watch every 20 minutes because sewing takes so long, crochet takes so long that you don't want to stop and drop what you're doing just to go watch or pick your next video. To be honest, there's a lack of content on YouTube. I don't watch movies very often because I'm never invested enough to enjoy a movie. And if I am invested enough, I'm not going to be able to work on my project. And a lot of the content right now is AI slop. On top of that, it's like commentary content of stuff that's been talked about over and over and driven to the ground so many times. And like, I kind of get tired of it. So it's nice when I see content makers, especially creative content makers, put out long form video. I see Haley Marie Vintage put out an hour and 8-minute long video, so I'm definitely going to watch that next. I will be going back into the sewing room soon. I do need to go pick up my pattern. And I picked up my zipper for the project I was supposed to be working on this week that got delayed because I didn't have a zipper and I didn't feel comfortable adding like a white zipper to it. So that's here. The pattern that my dog peed on is here, but it's not peed on. I hope. I think that's pretty much it that I was waiting on to finish my current projects. So I'll show you guys what I want to do with the shirt once I get back in there as well. I definitely want to do like a huge puffy sleeve, but I'm going to pull out all the patterns that I need for it. Sorry, I'm just obsessed with this. Me and my husband were talking about it. I do plan on sometime this week probably making like raspberry fudge brownies because my husband brought it up. He brings this up pretty much every Valentine's Day, is that he misses the Sonic shakes that was raspberry like flavored milkshake with chocolate fudge brownie chunks in it. And nobody knows what he's talking about. Maybe I can find like a blender or something and make it for him because I don't know. That'd be so sweet, wouldn't it? Like, we're not the type to like go out to eat dinner on Valentine's Day. I just really like the color pink and he supports me in that. And then on top of that, he just like likes having things to look forward to. My husband is a culinarian for a living, so like he can't celebrate it and like it kind of like dulls him out to the actual holiday. It is technically a commercialized holiday. It is made to make these corporations big money because like there's nothing to look forward to in January. It's the new year. Most people's resolutions is to spend less money. So like February is the big month before like spring comes when people actually spend money. That's just the pattern of big corporations, honestly and truly. So anyways, enough of me rambling. I'm going to put on Haley Marie Vintage's video. If I finish this up, I'll show you guys what I did. It's going to come out in shorts. I don't believe that it's my goal to become a long form content pattern maker because I'm so bad at speaking. I edit out a lot of my videos. My hour plus long videos get shortened by at least 20 minutes each time I edit. So that's how bad I am at talking. So So anyways, back to creating. Okay, this is where I'm at for my hood. I think I'm ready to sew it up. I do have another skein of this purplish red yarn. I don't know what color it is. I don't remember what the color skein said. Oh, it's literally right here. It says orchid. By the way, I love orchids. I'm just really bad at being a plant mom, so I don't keep plants around the house really unless they're like very low maintenance, just like my ZZ Raven. Literally doesn't need much sun and also doesn't need much water, and that's perfect for me because I forget that they exist. I'm making a Pixie capelet hood thing. I don't think I'm making a capelet. I think I'm making a hood with a scarf, because more like a cowl. I do have another yarn that I want to add to this. This pink one is called, what are you called? Orchid Pink. What the heck? Let me get the other yarn real quick. This is the other yarn I want to include on this pattern. It's going to be a light pink Mulan. I think that's how you say Mouline. I didn't think that they had it in stock, but like look at those colors. It has both of these colors that are on this cape or this hood, but it doesn't have the gray. So I almost want to pull out a gray. I do have a whip that needs to be taken apart because the more I look at it, the less I want to wear it, because it was supposed to be like a 1920s, 1890s. I don't remember. It was an old crochet pattern and I didn't know how to read it. I tried really, really, really hard to get it done and it just didn't work. I might take it apart and then pull this gray out so that this can color match a little bit better. But I think what I'm going to do is like kind of make a cowl instead, and then make one of those cowls that like kind of pull up so that I can like have like a little mask around my face. But that's for later on, not this video, because this is supposed to be a sewing video. And I know a lot of people don't like it, and I didn't like it for the longest time, but then I realized it's kind of whimsical. If you did follow my pattern or were able to decipher my pattern from my leg warmers, it's essentially that, but instead of like straight across in the middle, you kept on increasing for every time you had like a half double crochet, and then the double crochets you increased as well, so that you can have like a nice little point, and then you're going to sew it down and all that jazz. I still have like a little bit less of an hour of Haley's channel announcement and goals for next year video, so I might start on the scarf first. I'm excited to wear this. I love core season. Pink season is my favorite outside of Halloween. And I feel like orange is only Halloween, and it sucks because I make a lot of clothes that are Halloween themed, and I don't feel like I can wear them outside of Halloween, whereas pink I can wear like with literally anything. I can wear it with this black shirt, and I have a lot of black shirts. And if you put orange with black, you're just automatically themed Halloween. So that was such an extremely emotional video, and I'm so happy to have been one of her first viewers ever. I am not a commenter on YouTube just because like most times when I'm watching YouTube, I'm doing something else in the background. And I wish I was, because then maybe I could make friends, but I've never been good at making friends. Let's be honest here. It's really inspiring to see people like her talk about like the community and how she wants to reach out to the community. I wish I could say the same about myself. I wish I was that type of person. I am very much somebody that likes to talk about community, but like I am too socially anxious and weird to do anything practical in the community. The most I can do, I feel, is putting out the crochet patterns for free, maybe donating some of the clothes that I have had in my closet forever. But now I'm starting to get to the point where my clothes are all me made, and I'm not really too confident in the clothes that I donate. And so I just kind of hoard them. It's just so cool seeing other people and how they interact with their community, because I wish I could. I wish I could leave the house without feeling like I need to have a person with me. I wish I could do big events without feeling super socially anxious. The biggest thing I've done was go to like local spooky markets, and I've only done one. That was terrifying for me. And I also met up with like a high school friend from there, and I immediately cried after because I felt so bad and poorly, because like, I'm going to be so honest, I was not a good person before I met my husband. And I met him in 2016. I was slowly starting to become a better person, but like still not great. And I don't think I fully emerged to being a good person until like more recently, 2020. I think my dog just scratched at the food bowl. Give me 1 second. I grew up in an environment that was completely self-serving, very sheltered, and I am very ashamed of the person I was prior to this. And like, I know you guys probably don't care for my history and all that, but like, I think it's important to know that people can grow and realize that what they've done was pretty shitty and that they can outgrow that and become a much better person, become more of a community-based person. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why I have such a hard time making friends, is because like I'm scared of the way that I was before, and I'm scared of meeting people like I was before, because I am susceptible to falling into my surroundings. And by that, I mean, like, I know that if my surrounding is extremely negative, I'm going to become negative too. I had back in 2022 was working a job, and this was after like I had an autistic meltdown. This is prior to knowing that I was autistic, and also a little bit prior to me learning that I was ADHD. My meltdown caused me to leave this well-paying job. I wouldn't say it's well-paying. I ended up working 14-hour days for less than people who were making hourly pay. After leaving that job, the second job I went to was an extremely negative one. By the way, the job that I had in 2020 was during COVID. I had that role prior to 2020, but then like things started being taken away from us slowly. Our workforce was greatly shortened, and then the social distancing didn't help. We were an open state, a free state at this time, but in reality, in the state of Florida, nobody really thinks about this, but our biggest import or export, our biggest way of for economy is tourism. We couldn't simply shut down the tourism industry. Yeah, the beaches were open, but that doesn't bring in money. Beaches are free. The most that we can make money off of is packing the roads, hoping people will pay tolls. Maybe the local beach economy would make money, but the Central Florida area was absolutely devastated by COVID. That's why we were a free, open state. They made it into a political thing, which economy is political. Anyways, I digress. So I was in a very negative headspace, screaming every single day in my car ride home, because not only was 2020 going on, but I was also being screamed at every single day and working 14-hour shifts and not aware of my mental background. It was a very negative time for me. And then the next job I went to, my coworkers were extremely negative, and almost all of them had very different views politically from me, very much like the environment that I grew up in, where it was self-serving and not caring about the local community, not realizing the local community wasn't actually a community, but it was a tourism community. So it's like not a real true community, not understanding that everybody that's there is probably a tourist, so they're going to ask the same questions all the time. It didn't bother me too much, but the type of questions and reactions from my coworkers weren't positive. That was another thing that spiraled me. And I think that's around the time where I realized, hey, I don't want to be part of that kind of people. Like, I mean, like, obviously my political views started changing a lot at that point. It did change when I first went to college in Arkansas, which is wild because you wouldn't think that Arkansas would have been the one that like opened me up to the world. But prior to that, I had only lived in Florida and I didn't know anything about anybody but Florida. On top of that, it was Polk County, Florida. So like it was a very closed area. The internet is such a good tool to like learning about other cultures and communities and people in general, and realizing, hey, what you're going through might be unique. It's not the world that's going through it. So stop being self-serving, you know? I don't remember where I was going with this. Basically, having a community is just so nice. Being part of a community is so nice. And I wish I could be part of one, like the bigger community. And that's something that I want to strive for in the future. I don't know how so. I don't know if I can ever make it myself go out to Castle or goth club nights. Although I'm goth, I don't feel like I'm part of the community. I don't feel like I'm part of a community of anything, to be honest. I've always been like traversing through friendships. I have a hard time keeping friends. So anyways, now I'm watching Jade the Libra talk about New Year's vlog and all that. But I think after I finish watching her video, I will go into the sewing room depending on how like mentally I'm feeling, because right now I'm getting really addicted to this. I decided on making it into a cowl, and if I really, really, really feel like it, I'll do like a little cape coming down, because that would be pretty nice to make it like a little snug feeling. Having more warmth on my shoulders is really important. I'm somebody that gets really cold around my neck area. If my neck area is cold, then forget it. I'm having a meltdown. So we'll be over in the sewing room soon. I promise. It might be later, much later today. It's only 5:30. Like, I always feel like it's so friggin' late. I woke up like a little bit later today because it's that time of the month and I always sleep in that time of the month. I don't mean to, it just happens. And I don't set alarms on my days off because I think the alarms like really piss me off. Yeah, it feels much later. I know the days are getting longer again, which is great because that's my favorite. And I'm very motivated by sunlight. Yeah, it's only 5:30, so I should be able to get to sewing today. If not, I still have a couple more days until this video needs to go onto my PC. So I just went through my notifications on TikTok, and a lot of my old sewing videos have recently come back into light, as in like people are liking it. And I'm always weirded out when people do that because it's like, it was when my fashion was like strictly 1940s before I started experimenting more with sewing and like mixing fashion slates, I guess. While watching Jade the Libra, she mentioned, I don't have any New Year's resolutions. And I'm remembering, oh, a lot of people for New Year probably have their resolution of becoming a better sewist, or they got gifted a sewing machine for Christmas. And I don't know, I love being part of people's sewing journeys. It's really cool to see other people be inspired by my sewing because I definitely don't sew the way I did when I first started. And I do have a couple sewing patterns from smaller businesses that most people aren't going to know about unless they are really good at searching the internet. And I'm going to be honest, it's hard to search the internet nowadays. It's hard to find smaller businesses. Google sucks. Their AI feature really sucks. And like, they always put first the people who pay for advertisements. And a lot of times that's not what people are looking for. The search results are a lot of times also AI images. I am so lucky to have grown up in the 90s before the internet became like this huge thing. And when we were taught in our computer lab classes how to use Google as a search function, we had like the plus minus thing. I remember learning that and then being like, I'll never use that because like Google used to be so good at not having that. But nowadays you have to use whatever you're searching for in images minus AI to find something that you want. Besides the point, it's really fun seeing some of my older sewing videos pop back up and get more views and likes and all that jazz, because it's like, wow, people do like finding stuff. It reminds me that my sewing videos aren't atrocious. I don't know. I just really enjoy seeing those notifications pop up. It's fun. I'm almost done with this cowl. I am watching Chris the Girl and her Halloween shopping. I used to be on the same trajectory of Jade the Libra and Chris the Girl with my TikTok videos. I used to go shopping every week and go look and see what was in the stores. And the older I got, the more I was like, ooh, I really don't like falling into consumerism. I don't have the money to fall into consumerism. I have since taken a step back. I think it was like 2 years ago or 1 year ago where I was like, no more. We're not doing this Halloween decor shopping, Valentine's Day decor shopping anymore. But I still watch and consume content from it because it is inspiring to me, because I can see what's going on, wait for it to go on mega sale, which is also still falling into the consumerism trap. At least I can save a little bit of money, but it's mostly for inspiration to see what these big box companies are doing, to see what I can do to like not fall in trend, because that's not ever what I aim for, to see what color patterns people are using and see what new decor is out there and see if I can DIY it, which most times I can't because I am not a prop maker. I am not anybody that can do something outside of fiber arts for the most part. Maybe the colors inspire me to make something in that colorway. One more video, and hopefully then I will finally move on to sewing. Okay, so just finished watching Chris the Girl's video, and I'm so excited for Valentine's Day. I always get excited for Valentine's Day. I probably already talked about it on here, and I already forgot because I have short-term memory loss. Bad news about this is I think I sewed it on, or I started the stitches on the wrong side. So whenever I get around to making the pattern for this, I'm probably not going to say anything about back loop only, front loop only, except for when I get down to this part, because like at this point it's not important. I thought I was going to use it as like a decor point. Honestly, this would be really cute to have like little tiny things. I like the way that these are hanging, so I might add like little hearts or something, like dangling bits. I don't know. But this is fun. I'm not going to frog it. I'm a little bit upset with myself because I messed up what I was going for initially. But that's the fun part about crochet, is that it's kind of easy to go back, but it's time consuming. Also, that's the fun part about making your own pattern. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So I like the way it's going so far. It's a little bit loose, but who cares? Like, I like that it's a little bit loose because then I can wear lipstick and not worry too much about how my lipstick's going to smear on the inside of it. So I think after, well, I'm going to go sew. This is a good stopping point because I wanted to wear this while I was sewing, but then messed up and whatever. I'm a little bit disappointed. So after this, I will be putting on like a cape for this because I definitely have enough yarn to make a little capelet. I feel like this needs to be a little bit tighter. So all the like back loop only things I have in here, maybe I'll make like a little loop in there so I can button it up so that this stays up a little bit easier. Because yeah, right now it doesn't stay up. Like, I don't want to add more because, I mean, ooh, actually, I just touched this for the first time. I'm running low. It's like 180 yards, and it was the same price as this yarn, which makes sense because it's like a specialty yarn, whatever. So I think what I will do is add little loops inside so that it's easier for me to like just tie it together. Maybe I'll make little heart loops inside, and that way I can have like little things dangling out of it because I love the idea of having dangles. So that's for a different day. This is a sewing vlog. It's a vlog where I'm doing fiber arts. At this point, I'm not even going to title this. Well, maybe I will still title it sewing vlog. Who knows? I never know because I don't plan my days out. I can't because my ADHD is too bad. I am unmedicated. Yeah, let's go to the sewing room. I think I'm gonna go back. I like the way that the design looks on the outside much better than on the inside. I mean, it's not much of a difference, but I like the way that it looks right here. That's so cute. I'm gonna frog the whole thing. By like 2.5 hours of work. That's crochet for ya. Okay, for realsies, let's go sewing. Let's go gambling! As I am pinning this, I am not liking the difference in the reds here. So the red on the print is more like a deep red, closer to wine, but not very purpley. And the red on top is more close to orange. And I hate it. Also, my lip color is because I just remembered I bought a new Smooth Whip lipstick. I wanted a new base, so one of my favorite things to do is have a lipstick and then put eyeshadow on it. But I kind of like this color in general, and I just wanted to wear it because it was there. So, anyways, I think I'm not going to do the bias tape, which really sucks because, like, the way I put in the zipper is going to be really hard to do the folded over seam on. It is what it is. I have to do what I gotta do, and then work on that. I know that the zipper that I put in earlier, well, the zipper for this, I know that this zipper is just not a pretty way to put in a zipper. It is a no-show zipper, invisible zip, and I do like that. I just need to like learn how to properly put it in without my little seams showing or the cuts showing, and I know it would help if I like folded it over a little bit more. And maybe I could put the bias tape on the inside. Maybe that's what I'll do so that I can like just not see it and then not feel it, because I know that on my other outfit that used this top part as the base, that zipper does kind of annoy me right here, but that zipper is not an invisible zip, so I'll have to like look back into it. Oh my goodness, this hasn't been recording the whole time. Yeah, so now that we got the bias tape all like figured out and not wanting to do it, I want to show you what I've been working on for a little bit. Well, I mean, okay, so this is bad. At work, whenever I have free time and there's not stuff to like organize or whatever, I'll draw like inspiration because I work in a very busy area and I see people come through all the time and I like their outfits and it gives me a spark of inspiration. So what I did was draw like a whole bunch of pattern ideas or whatever for underneath this pinafore. And so I think I started off with this. And don't laugh at me. I'm not an artist in pen and paper. I was purely a musician up until like very recently, until 2020. And then now I am fiber arts and everything I do pulls directly from my brain because I can't draw. This is the first one I did. The sleeves. I'm a little bit embarrassed to show this. I was thinking about doing these huge puffy sleeves, basing it on the pattern that my dog peed on. And I had happened to order like the day of. I was planning on pulling that out. I want to make my own collar piece. So what the collar piece will be is like this huge like triangle right here. So using the base of a collar and then just drawing my own, or drafting, I think it's called drafting my own like collar triangle piece, because I've seen other people do it with like clowncore outfits, and also I think in some Lolita outfits, gothic Lolita outfits, I've seen these huge triangles. They do it in white with like black lace and then like little crosses on there. And I think that would be really cute, but I'm not going to add the crosses. Maybe I'll do a heart and embroidery, but I doubt it because that's a lot of work. Definitely doing like a button up in the front, which I do have another pattern in my like arsenal or stash, I guess, that I was planning on using. It's like a J fashion one, which I'm just going to use the bodice part for that and then make my own collar. I hated the way that these sleeves looked. No, one, because I can't draw, but two, because I'm like, I don't have that much fabric. I keep on calling it maroon. I don't know the exact color, but it's a darker red, which is closer to this red on here because I don't have much of that fabric and I just don't want to go shopping for that fabric just in case it's like a different colorway fabric. I don't think is as bad. However, I still don't want to go fabric shopping. I decided on going with the short sleeves, which I do have a couple patterns with short sleeves like this. I don't know if I want to make them like these huge puff sleeves because I do have a pattern that's like replicating a late 1800s, early 1900s bathing suit that has these huge puff sleeves that are like kind of like they have like a tight thing right here and it kind of just like scrunches in. But I also have like a 1940s pattern that's like kind of more like a normal shoulder sleeve that doesn't have like the huge emphasis on using stretch materials or whatever. So I might go with that just because I don't think I have enough fabric to do like the 1900s one. I actually got around to drawing the whole thing together. I made this. This is what it's going to look like when it's done, kind of, because I can't really draw. I kind of want to add like a little belt loop down here area just because I don't really like the way that the thing looks as is. I don't like seeing where the fabric meets, and on top of that I don't like the way that I had to like scrunch up. I still don't remember what the term is called because I didn't look it up yet, but I'll probably look it up by the time I edit this video. I don't like the way that the fabric for the skirt meets the fabric for the bodice. I'm going to put belt loop there to kind of hide that, and then maybe I'll crochet a belt. I don't feel like sewing a belt because like I'd have to buy hardware. I'd have to do the same thing with crochet belt, I guess, but like I think I just want to make a bow ribbon style thing out of it. I do have ribbon that I just recently bought, but I don't think I want to use the ribbon as like the belt thing because it's a different kind of red as well. And on top of that, I just don't feel like that's what I want to do. And then I added what the top would look like afterwards, and I think it's going to look so cute. And then after that, I started drawing like more inspiration for the future. The pattern I bought to replace the one that my dog peed on comes with like a collar, but like it's a back button piece, but I have learned how to flip it around to where the front button's down rather than the back. So I wanted to make like kind of a shorter version of this, but instead of like a regular like straight line, I wanted to make like more poofy so that the top doesn't have to like look as scrunched up. And then I think this is like one where I want to do really puffy sleeves. That would be really cute. I like the Peter Pan collar on there because Peter Pan collars used to be really popular. I think the first one I drew though was this one because I was thinking of revisiting the skirt pattern for the bodice for this using that like triangle shape thing, but I just don't trust myself to do it again. Plus I'm trying to like limit my fabric use, and I know that if I were to use this I wouldn't be as conscious or cautious. It's a lot of fabric use, which is weird because they're tiny triangles, but that was kind of the first draft of it. I do like the sweetheart neckline, but I feel like I do that for everything, so I decided that I'd go with the collar. I think I made another drawing on the back of this. Let's see. Oh yeah, this was the original, I think, where I was doing like the original straight line, but then I was like, no, and then I flipped over to this, and then I was like, no, and then I decided on this. This might be coming in the future. I'm probably going to throw these away now that I showed you guys. I think this is coming up after I finish all my Megacon project stuff because I think it'd be really cute to start doing like shorter stuff because I do wear stockings more often, and I do have more of a want to wear shorter skirts but not show my legs, if that makes sense. I want to make more dresses. That's what I'm trying to say because I feel like I only make skirts and only make aprons. Blouses are a different thing. I feel like you can layer up on dresses more than on other items. So yeah, that's what's coming up. I'm going to take this bias tape apart, try to like sew over and hope for the best. Fingers crossed. Whenever I do like a fold over seam, what helps me like do it, because I know a lot of people, they say you have to line and you have to chalk mark, and that's a whole different task. That involves me getting up out of my chair, going down there, measuring, pulling out the measuring tape, maybe, or even like the measuring board and then moving and shifting the fabric around. That's too much work. So what I do, and I know this is kind of a waste of thread, it is something that helps me with my neurodiverse brain, is I will do like a stay stitch, not really a stay stitch, it's just a permanent stitch for me. I'll put the end of the fabric here and then just sew all the way through, and that way I do have like a line on my fabric, but I'll fold the fabric over to where the line is, then fold it over again so that the second part of the line is underneath, and that way it's easy for me to see where it stays even. I'm not gonna lie, I did do this unevenly, but that's fine. Like, it's gonna be under my armpit. I think I might have sensory issues with it later down the road. I'm probably gonna cut it a little bit more so that this isn't as uneven to this. I did have to cut the zipper a little bit, and that's fine. I definitely sewed this in improperly. So I really super messed up with the zipper. If it was a regular zipper, I feel like I would be able to fix it. I even looked it up online and everything is for a regular zipper. Invisible zippers are a totally different thing. I am fraying the end of this a lot more than it should be. It's just making me upset and I might cry about it because I'm on my period. I am so upset with myself because it was going to be so perfect, and like, I'm just so mad because it was almost done and now I have to backtrack and make buttons. Yes, sir, I am sad. He knows I'm sad. At this point, I don't have like a zipper to do this. Are you looking at my ring light? He's helping me not cry. I need to stop dwelling on it, but like, that's all I can think about. This is an easy fix. All I gotta do is get buttons, put them on. I'm going to make like a separate piece for buttonholes, because like, I guess it will look cute in the end if I do buttonholes. It's just not what I planned on doing. I have these brown buttons that I was planning on using for like a shirt. So now that this is the case, I'm probably not going to get to the blouse because the blouse is going to need buttons and I freaking hate doing buttons. I'm going to sew it all the way up and then I'm going to flat felt those seams. I don't know what it's called because I never learned terminology. Turn those seams over to where it's laying flat like this. And then I will be measuring a little bit. I'm going to do one side that has like the buttonholes and then I'll put it on over this way. Nah, I'm going to do the buttonhole thing. I know that's going to be too much for me. Dang, actually, reverse that. We're going to do just one side with the buttonholes and then I'm going to completely like fold this over so that this seam just like folds down this way, like this, and then it'll just come down this side. It's not going to be as annoying as having the zipper down here because like one of the issues with the zipper I was saying earlier is that it was giving me like a sensory issue because it was like hurting right there because it was just laying right there because the texture of the zipper, like the fabric of the zipper, isn't quite like soft. It's metal. It's literally metal. So it was scratching right up against my skin. And sometimes I think I'm going to want to wear this as just like a normal dress during like, I don't know, summer, spring. Probably spring. Now that I'm doing buttons, it's just not going to hurt as much. I'm going to take a break, eat some food, probably get to this tomorrow because I am frustrated beyond belief right now. And because I'm frustrated beyond belief, I don't want to think about sewing. I will go back and frog my project from earlier. This is definitely turning into a multi-fiber crafting video. So, food time.